Episode number 95.
Are you eager to get unstuck and figure out what you would actually like to do with your career next? Have you been going around in circles trying to figure it out but getting no further forward? If so, you're going to love today's sponsor, my signature group program, the Career Clarity Academy. Changing career direction can feel overwhelming and daunting, but it doesn't have to be. In my signature program, we give you clear, step-by-step, proven processes for getting completely clear on what it is that you want to do and understanding how you can leverage your existing experience and position yourself to attract and land a dream role. To find out more, head over to lightboxcoaching.com/academy. Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because #ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. I'm going to be talking about why more focus is required for you to land your ideal role. So the reason why I want to talk about this topic is because I hear from a lot of people who are saying, look, I want to make a career change, I want to make a move, that they have started to take action. So they have started to put themselves out there, they have started to look at opportunities, but yet they still feel like they are spinning their wheels and going round and round in circles and not really making much progress. So that's why I want to talk today about the importance of focus. Because if you are somebody who has decided, okay, yes, I do want to make a move, I do want to make a career change, and I'm going to start making moves towards that, you may be in one of two camps. So you may be in a position where you've decided to go for it and you find yourself going out there and saying, do you know what, I'm going to look at the different opportunities that are available and I'm going to start sending out my CV. I'm going to start applying and doing online applications, and then I will see what happens. And once I put out those applications and whichever one comes back, then that can be the opportunity that I pursue. So the strategy there is, I'll put everything out, I'll put the feelers out, I'll see what comes back, and then that's going to guide me in terms of helping me decide what the right step is. Right? So that's one approach that some people take. So I call that the scattergun approach, where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna fire all over the place and then just see what lands. What I've heard other people refer to it as, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. So that's one approach that some people take. And then the other approach is where people are saying, you know what, I know I want to make a move, but as I look and I think about it, there are so many options out there. There are so many things that I could do. And because there's so much that I can do, I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. And because I feel overwhelmed, I'm not actually moving forward. I'm not actually pursuing anything because it feels like there's so much that I could pursue. If you can relate to any of this, let me know in the comments. So people fall into those two camps, and I was thinking about it, and it really connects with, say, fitness, right? I was thinking about an analogy for this. And if you are someone who's like, right, I want to get on my fitness regime again, and I want to come out of quarantine with my summer body, and so I'm going to do all the research and I'm going to see what meal plan I can implement and what fitness plan I can implement. And you go and you find all of these different options, and one week you might try one thing, another week you might try something else, and then you're trying all of these different things, but you're not sticking to anything for long enough for there to be results, right? That can happen. And then there's the other type of person who says, you know what, like, I really want to get fit. I really do. And they do all the research, but then they don't move forward. So those are the two types of people that we're talking about here when we're looking at, I want to make a career change, but I'm not making the right amount of progress. So what I want to encourage you with, if you are that person and you feel like, do you know what, like I'm not moving. I feel like I'm moving. I feel like I'm taking action, but I'm not getting results. Or there's so much that I could be doing and I'm not doing it. Then what I want to encourage you to do is focus. Focus, focus, focus. So I know that it's hard when you're saying, I don't know exactly which direction I want to take. It's hard to say focus because you might be saying, well, I'm not entirely sure exactly what it is that I want to do. But what you do need to be doing, instead of saying, okay, this sounds like a good opportunity, this sounds like a good opportunity, let me pursue that. What needs to happen and what is required in order for you to get into the position where you feel confident that this is the right move and confident that this is the path that you want to take is that you need to dig deep with considering whether or not this is the right option. And what I mean by digging deep is it's not enough to just say, does this sound like a good opportunity? Does it sound like I would be doing the type of thing that I want to do? Are they going to be paying me the right amount of money? Am I going to be working for the right type of organization? Like, it's not enough to just be focused on those things. It's important to dig deep and get really, really clear on, is this the right opportunity for me? And asking yourself the question, if you're saying, okay, this sounds good, I want to pursue this option, ask yourself, what about this makes me believe that this is the right opportunity for me right now in this phase of life? Because when you ask yourself that question, you really need to listen to the answer. What about this opportunity makes me think that this is right for me? Because oftentimes people don't actually have all of the information that is required for them to make a decision about whether or not this is the path for them. And the reason why they don't have all of the information is because they're not thinking about all of the different pieces of the puzzle. They're saying, okay, I want a role that allows me to do X, Y, and Z, but not necessarily thinking about, well, what do I want life to look like holistically? Like, what do I want my working life to look like? Because you can't separate your work life with your personal life. The two are integrated. So I talk a lot about work-life integration. And so thinking about how would this type of role impact my lifestyle, and is that what I want right now? So I know for me, when I was thinking about making a career transition, I had transitioned into motherhood, and I thought about, what do I want my life to look like as a mother? And then that really informed the type of opportunities that I pursued after that. So for you, it's thinking, what do I want my life to look like? And work is part of that, but work isn't everything. Because when you do that, that can help you to qualify opportunities and say, well, is this actually the right opportunity for me right now at this phase? Does this opportunity help me to tick some of the boxes that I have set for myself in terms of what I want my lifestyle to look like? And it doesn't necessarily just need to relate to motherhood. It can relate to location, like how far do you want to be commuting? How much do you want to make sure that you're able to integrate an exercise regime into your life? How important is it for you to be able to fit certain hobbies into your life? Like, really thinking about the different aspects of your life that you want to be able to pursue, as well as progress in your career, and looking at opportunities that are going to enable you to do that. So if you're stuck and you're just saying, oh, this sounds like a good opportunity, dig deeper with it and be able to answer for yourself, why is this such a good opportunity? What is it about this organization or this type of role, or this, what is it about this that makes me feel like this is a good opportunity to pursue? And if you take the time to do that, and if you take the time to really consider that, that's going to slow you down from just going out there and just saying, oh, I'm going to fire out applications and I'm just going to see what comes back. Because I talked about before, firing out applications and seeing what comes back, it's a time suck. It's a time suck. If you're going to sit down and do lots and lots of applications, but they're not targeted, you could be spending your time and not getting any return on that investment of time. And what I mean by a return is that you could spend that time and your applications go into the internet black hole and you never hear back again, because those applications are bland. They're bland. They're not detailed enough. They're not focused enough. They're not showing and demonstrating your passion for the role, because you haven't yet determined that you're passionate for the role. So how can you articulate that? How can you explain that if you haven't dug deep enough to know why it is you really want to do this? To understand why it is that you'd be a good fit for that role. If you haven't understood that for yourself, if you haven't taken the time to understand that for yourself, then how is it going to be possible for you to effectively communicate that to a hiring manager? So, people know if you're just sending off the same CV and cover letter, people know that, they can tell, right? And if you're just changing one paragraph and not really fully understanding what the company is about or what the mission is, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And the only way that you can write a really compelling cover letter or, a cold outreach email or have a really effective interview is for you to understand for yourself, why is it that I want this role? So it's not about kind of showing up and saying what you think they want to hear. Because a lot of the time when people are preparing for interview questions, it's like, okay, what are the questions that they're going to ask? And then really thinking about, well, what kinds of answers would be a good answer? And yes, it's important to understand how to answer the question effectively, but it's not about what's a good answer. It's like, what's the right answer for you? Because you have to show up for that interview, and whatever you're saying in that interview, whatever you're expressing in that interview, if you land the role, you then have to go into the organization and do the job. So it makes sense for you to be talking from a place of, okay, this is what I really feel. This is what I really think. This is how I really see there being a connection between me as an individual and this role, and why the two fit together so well. Being able to really talk to that and do it in a way that feels authentic and that feels good is really going to come once you've identified that this is absolutely what I want to do. And so that's why I'm saying it's important for you to focus, because it's impossible for you to go that deep and to, you know, go to that level of detail if you are taking the scattergun approach. Like, if we are looking at 5 or 6 really different types of opportunities that all could potentially be good, how are you going to go deep? How are you going to really ask yourself those questions to the extent that you need to, and really be able to demonstrate that you are the right candidate for that type of role? So what I really want to encourage you to do is not to be going wide, but to be going deep with what it is that you're doing when it comes to identifying what the right next step is for me. So this is partly why I say it's not about just jumping in and just starting to apply. It's about taking the time at the beginning to get that clarity about what is the right role for me. Where is it that I want to move to, and why do I want to move there? And then we focus on the next part, which is, okay, how do I demonstrate that I'm the right candidate for that particular type of role? And I know in this climate where for some people change is just thrust upon them, and it's like, okay, I really need to look at changing right now because of all that's going on, it might be a bit like, oh, I don't know, I really don't know. And when you say over and over, I don't know, it's hard for you to push past that. So sometimes it's about framing the question differently. It's like, okay, I'm not entirely sure right now. What would I need to do to get sure? What steps could I take to get more clarity, instead of just saying, I don't know, and then getting stuck there? So I'd encourage you to do that as well. It's important for you to train your brain to think differently when you're presented with problems, as opposed to just being like, oh, I can't do this, it's not possible, I just can't do it. It's like, okay, how can I figure this out? If I need to figure out what it is I want to be doing, what steps do I need to be taking in order for me to get that clarity? So for some people, it is just sitting with the questions that I mentioned to you earlier, and just really establishing, what do I want to move towards in terms of my lifestyle and my career? For other people, it's like, I need some outside intervention here. I need to speak to someone who can help me to work through these things. For some, it just takes time. So you have to figure out what it is for you, but it's important for you to figure that out and have that focus, so that you can land one of those roles that you determine to be your ideal role. So we want to avoid the scattergun. We want to avoid just getting out there and just putting anything out and hoping that something sticks. And we also want to avoid being in a place where there's so many options that you then take no action, because neither path is really getting you to where it is that you want to go. What you need is to take the time to get the clarity around the right role for you, and then have a clear path in order to get there. That's what's going to get you to landing a role that is ideal for you. Because a lot of times people say, oh, I want to land my dream role or my ideal role. And then when you ask the question around, like, what does that look like? What is your ideal role? It's surprising how many people can't really articulate that. Like, what is my ideal role? What is ideal for me? I don't really know, like, 100% what is ideal for me. And if you're saying that, then there's work to do, right? There's work to do to figure that out before you go out into the marketplace. Because there may well be opportunities out there that are like perfectly aligned to what it is that you want. But if you haven't yet got to the place where you know what that is, you could waste an opportunity because you haven't put yourself forward for that opportunity in the best way and in the best light. So that's my encouragement for you today. Get focused. stop spending lots of time doing the wrong things, basically. If you've made a decision that you do want to move towards a change, then it is about taking action, but it's about taking focused action that is going to lead to results.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Career Changemaker podcast. If you have enjoyed what you've heard today, then head over to iTunes or wherever it is that you listen to podcasts and leave us a rating and review. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can hear when the next episode goes live. And if you like hanging out on Instagram, then I would love for you to tag me and let me know what you really thought about the episode over there at Career Changemaker. Until next time, keep working towards your career goals and we will speak very, very soon.